Okay, hello my friends. This is a quick word from your Uncle Sergeant Briggs. I want to tell you why voting is a bad thing, why voting causes discord. We have an election today, and it will cause great acrimony and disquiet. Tempers will flare, people will be happy and sad, and every emotion in between. And I want to explain to you really quickly why voting does this and why living in an our democracy is not to be desired, especially a general democracy. The more we tend towards everybody having a vote, the worse it will get. Here we go. So there's only two kinds of votes, really. There's the voting for who is best to lead a position and voting for something. There are, in other words, two types of voting. There are when everybody agrees on a direction and when people are voting for a direction. When everybody agrees on a direction, very simple votes. For instance, people want to go out to lunch. Everybody agrees going out to lunch is a good thing. We're going to vote to the best place to go. Not everybody will be happy, but they all got their primary desires satisfied, which was going out to eat. Very simple election. Or even in a country, everybody agrees they largely share the same morals, the same tastes, the same histories. They are a people. And when they are a people, there's not perfect agreement, of course, but more or less there is agreement on the larger things in life, especially on moral questions and ethical questions and the like. And voting in that case is when there are candidates for an office and they want to be the best person. We want to elect the best person to lead the country or our nation or our state or our county or whatever it is, our locality, towards the goals that we all share. I think candidate A is much better equipped, given his history and background and so forth, his strengths and weaknesses and so forth, than I think candidate B is. We'll all go to the polls and we'll all vote for these candidates, and in the end, candidate C wins, for instance. Well, I would have been happier had candidate A won, but he didn't, and instead C did. But this is not the end of the world to me, because although I don't think that candidate C will do the best job or as good a job as candidate A would have in bringing me the goals that I desire for myself and for my neighbors and for my people, it's still bringing us in that direction. So, okay, I could forget about politics for a while and concentrate on other ways to meet those goals. Contrast that when we're voting for something in which we do not agree. We have people who have diametrically opposed viewpoints. They don't want to go in the same direction. In fact, they want to go in completely opposite directions, polar opposite directions. In fact, both sides hate and loathe the positions the other side takes. And this is often found when you have discord among a populace, where the people are not a people, where diversity is such that lots of different groups of people want completely different things. Or there are two large groups who want more or less opposite things. And in this case, we have two candidates, a candidate A and a candidate B. Candidate A, my side wants to vote for candidate A because candidate A is espousing the things that I want. I don't necessarily agree that candidate A is the person to get us to those goals, but I want those goals. Whereas my opponents, the people voting for candidate B, want the exact opposite things. They might also think that candidate B is not the best person to bring about these goals that they share, but they have no choice. They're going to vote for candidate B because they necessarily have to come to hate candidate A. And the same thing about people looking at candidate B. They must come to loathe this person because this person stands for everything they do not want. And so at the end, we'll all vote, and either candidate A or candidate B wins. In this case, I think candidate A will win, which is great for me. I think candidate A is going to bring the things that I want to fruition. The goals that I want will be emphasized, whereas the goals of my enemies will be tamped down somewhat, or at least canceled maybe, if I'm lucky enough as that, or completely crushed, if I want to be bold about it. And there's the problem. The problem is the people on the other side, the people who lost, now see that everything that they had wanted will not happen. They're not going to be happy about this. In fact, some of them may be so unhappy about this that they'd lash out, either emotionally or violently. They're not getting what they wanted to have, and there's no way they're going to get what they wanted to have. So if they really feel strongly about getting what they want, they have to do something else. Whereas my side looks at this and says, look, these guys, and for candidate B and the goals and the directions they want, I don't want that stuff at all. In fact, I want to make it so that these guys don't have much of an opportunity to bring that stuff about in any way. So we're going to try to work everything so that these guys do not have as much opportunity for bringing those things about in the future. In other words, we may even try to suppress the vote ourselves, or try to discourage people from voting for what they want and so forth. So there's just, at the end of this, no matter what, there's going to be, like I say, an increase in discord and disharmony and anger. And both sides are going to trust each other even less. One side will be, of course, very happy, and one side will, of course, be very sad. But unless the two sides can meet, which I don't think is possible in all situations, and I don't think it's possible in our situation, unless each side can convince each other and find a way to compromise on their goals, diversity will not be our strength. Diversity, of course, will be our great weakness. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen in this particular election. The more that we bring about and increase diversities in peoples and customs and backgrounds and desires and religions and so forth, the more diversity there is, but necessarily the more discord that will bring, especially when we're asked to vote on these things. So this is why every philosopher, starting with Plato on up to or before Plato, on up to the present, has always cautioned about democracies, telling us they never end too well, and for the very reasons that we're about to see in our case. It is much better to have voting done in small blocks, for small things where people more or less agree on all the goals. And if we don't return to something like that, we'll be forced to one way or another. That's it. That's just a short lesson from your Uncle Sergeant Briggs here on why the results of this particular election will bring great joy and great sadness, and that it was inevitable that it do so. Thanks for listening.